What's up, everybody? This is the Pilot Man here, and you know what I really despise? Which game really doesn't deserve to make a comeback? Titanfall.
It stinks. It stinks.
Boy, what an overhyped piece of junk Titanfall 2 was. What type of degenerate would play a game where you can suit up in some giant mech robot and get flung across space and time and jump on top of the robot and pull out batteries and fuck it over that way and punch other giant robots in the face with these big metal gauntlets? Who gets enjoyment from stuff like that? Couldn't be me. Do people even like robots anymore?
No.
Titanfall 2 was one of the biggest disgraces in gaming. This joke is getting old, isn't it? There wasn't even a cult following behind it, and truth be told, I'm as happy as a clam that the franchise has finally died. Is what I would say if I went to college and got my major in blasphemy.
Look, I'd had a lovely supper, and all I said to my wife was...
Titanfall 2 was one of the biggest disgraces in gaming.
Blasphemy!
I may have said this in a previous video before, but it's a take, I think, out of all the takes I've had, this one might be one of the best. There are no bad mech games. If there are, I have yet to see one. Armored Core, absolute banger. I only played that series for the first time like a couple years ago with Armored Core 6. Jesus, those boss fights were relentless and gorgeous and beautiful. A custom robo on a GameCube. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh, but the battle takes place with these little robots in this arena, and that's how people in the world of custom robo settle their differences. That game had an amazing story and was a lot of fun. Mech Assault. Who could forget Mech Assault on a classic OG Xbox? It's just the green and the robots, and visually that was just like a staple of the Xbox brand in my eyes. Then there's that Mecha Break game coming out, and that looks phenomenal as well. And you can add Titanfall 1 and 2 to that list of proof that mech games are something people enjoy. It's a genre that, as far as I've seen, just somehow always works. Transformers proved that you don't need good writing, storytelling, or even character performances to make a lot of money. Just have robots fighting. It's the same thing with monster movies. Just have the monsters fight and make it look cool and I'll give you money. You would think it would be as simple as that, but ladies and gentlemen, Titanfall 3 has been canceled. That's right, folks. We are no longer standing by for a Titanfall game. So recently, the developers of Titanfall and the Star Wars Jedi series Apex Legends, Respawn Entertainment, have come out and confirmed that Titanfall 3 was just canceled.
What? How can you do this?
I think that's what they said. If we look at this tweet here, this is, well, first off, add this to the compilation of like video game developer apology tweets or like delay announcements. They all have the same format. I don't know. Let's read this because canceling a new Titanfall game is pretty fucking important. I loved the second game and felt like it didn't get as many players as it really deserved. And this is a series that I've honestly just been waiting for them to come out with a new title. So here's what they say. At Respawn, bold ideas, creative risks, and passionate storytelling have always defined who we are. That spirit has carried us through incredible highs and sometimes through difficult changes too. As we sharpen our focus for the future, we've made the decision to step away from 2 early-stage incubation projects. First off, you can tell the terminology like immediately turns robotic, right? These aren't video games, these are early-stage incubation projects. He's not shell-shocked, he has
post-traumatic stress disorder.
I get what they're trying to say, like it's an incubation project. But I think an incubation project is just like something that they're testing and working on and not like 100% certain on. We've made the decision to step away from 2 early stage incubation projects and make some targeted team adjustments across Apex Legends and Star Wars Jedi. Okay, now that's just hilarious to me. We're not laying people off, we're making targeted team adjustments. You wouldn't be married, you'd be butt buddies.
Instead of being man and wife, you'll be butt buddies. Get it?
You know they're making layoffs because right after they say targeted team adjustments, They say, these decisions aren't easy. We are deeply grateful to every teammate affected.
My ass!
What? It sounds like these targeted team adjustments are... Wait, they're not a good thing?
I was lied to. And so are you.
This is such a bizarre way. Like, just say you're laying people off. Folk are losing their jobs and some projects are getting shelved or canceled. Like, I can't speak for what the work culture at Respawn is like. I haven't really been made aware of any major internal controversies there. So, like, I don't think they're doing this for nefarious or malicious intent, but I feel like it's using this type of soft language. It does a disservice to what it is you're doing and the people affected by it. Treat it with the respect, the dignity, and honesty that it deserves, right? This is kind of what I hate about major corporations, or like, you ever been fired before? It's like an Office Space, man. That idea that they can't just look at you, stare you down, and tell you you don't have a job anymore. They have to obfuscate, and like just they have to get as far away as possible. We're getting rid of you. You don't work here anymore, or maybe, I don't know. Look at him, Respawn. You've made Johnny Titanfall sad. How could you? Reading this, it feels like the PR department rewrote it like 40 times. And I get it, layoffs suck. There's a lot of them that have been happening in the video game and tech industry, and it's important to try to stay positive. At the very least, it sounds like they're offering opportunities for these employees who are laid off, to work on other games within EA's brand. We are deeply grateful to every teammate affected. Their creativity and contributions have helped build Respawn into what it is today.
I'm getting a lot of bullshit on this line.
We're offering meaningful support to those impacted, including exploring new opportunities within EA. Like, impacted. Decisions aren't easy. The language is just interesting to me. Looking ahead, our commitment to player-first experiences remains unchanged. Innovation has always been at the core of Respawn's identity, and it continues to drive how we build the future. Building better worlds with Wayland Yutani. From evolving live experiences to crafting new worlds and stories. This is just like generic jargon, corporate speak that says nothing, and it's just word salad. Yes, we're gonna continue making video games that you want to purchase.
No shit, Sherlock.
For Apex Legends, that means not just delivering competitive, innovative seasons, but expanding what Apex can be. Well, can you go back to the people that are like getting laid off and like the projects you cancel? Can you talk about that? I don't give a shit about Apex Legends right now. I'll be honest. We're investing in what's next for the franchise, exploring bold experiences that push the boundaries of competitive play while staying true to the spirit of competition, creativity, and integrity that our community expects. This is so vague and generic that it bugs me. With the Star Wars universe, we're excited to keep building new stories. Really? New story? No way! Although, with the next chapter of the Star Wars Jedi series aiming to raise the bar again for storytelling and gameplay. Okay, that I'm hyped about. You've had 2 entries in the Star Wars Jedi series, and both have been absolute bangers, so keep up with that. Alright, so this really doesn't explain any of the specifics, and it's pretty vague and kind of annoying because of that. Dude, I love this. Trade offer. I receive Titanfall 3. You receive cancel all other games. Fair. That's fair. I'd take that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate too. So what does all that mean? Because it's clear Respawn doesn't want to get into the weeds of what they're actually saying. Yes, Electronic Arts lays off hundreds, cancels Titanfall game. The video game publisher cuts between 300 and 400 jobs. I thought these were targeted team adjustments. Layoffs? That's completely different. Thank you, Mr. Schreier, for putting it into simple, basic English for everybody here. I, personally, have a 2nd grade reading level, so thank you. Electronic Arts is laying off hundreds of workers and canceling a Titanfall game that was in development at Respawn Entertainment. According to a person familiar with the cuts, 300 and 400 positions were eliminated, including around 100 at Respawn. Yeah, look at this. A spokesman for Respawn said, "As part of our continued focus on our long-term strategic priorities, we've made select changes within our organization that more effectively aligns teams and allocates resources in service of driving future growth." Jesus Christ. Go outside and touch grass. Go hang out with the bros. drink a beer. Can you at least try to be a little bit more human? Although, maybe. He's turned into a robot. He's a robot. The canceled project, codenamed R7, was an extraction shooter set in the Titanfall universe.
Looks like there's been a change of plans.
According to people familiar with its development, it was not close to being released. You know, what EA really needed, what we all needed, was yet another extraction shooter.
This person doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Personally, I've been waiting for a sequel to The Day Before, but as time goes on, it seems like a sequel to that game is The Day That Never Comes. I guess there's a silver lining here, because it's not like they're canceling Titanfall 3. Like, sequel to Titanfall 2, FPS, Call of Duty mechanics, but with robots and wall running that's actually awesome and works with the map, and there's minions that you shoot for points. So it's not like they looked at the borderline perfect Titanfall formula and said, well, this isn't viable. This game isn't gonna sell, or whatever. I don't understand why you would want to make Titanfall into an extraction shooter. Like, isn't that what Apex Legends is? I've never played Apex Legends, if you can believe that. I don't think there's giant robots in it, so I don't really care, but I know that it has something to do with Titanfall. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, and also tell me I'm ugly. But like, Titanfall already was an extraction shooter, right? Don't you remember at the end of rounds, if you were on the losing team, you'd have to make it to your dropship to extract for like bonus points? It was like a neat little mini game as opposed to just having the match end abruptly. I always thought that was a really fucking cool way to end multiplayer matches. And then if you were on offense, you tried to chase down all the pilots and destroy them and their mechs before they could reach the dropship. Hey, remember when Helldivers 2 added that very same mechanic and everybody loved it because it was so awesome and it's such a great idea? Like, just do that again. Just do that again. You already have Apex Legends, and you tried another extraction mode with Battlefield 2042. And that game, well, we don't need to rehash history, but 2042 made me sad because it turned out that's just how it works out sometimes. What I don't understand is why, like, from EA's perspective, you're a big publisher and you're selling people a lineup of games, not just one at a time. You're figuring out your entire lineup, right? You don't want too many things to overlap, too many games to self-compete with each other. Remember when Titanfall 2 came out and it was a masterpiece and EA was like, you know what, let's release this right in between Battlefield 1 and Infinite Warfare. And also COD 4 Remastered. Let's just do it right in the middle of two COD games. That your two COD games came out. Jesus. But placing it in that release window really screwed over the player base for Titanfall 2, because I think most FPS gamers at the time probably flocked to the series that was familiar to them. Battlefield and Call of Duty were a lot more familiar to people than Titanfall. But I don't get why you wouldn't just do Titanfall 3. Like, with EA's current lineup of games and offerings, why add yet another extraction shooter to the mix?
Money!
Jason continues, earlier this year, EA reduced its bookings estimate for the fiscal year following the miss of its latest soccer game, EA Sports FC 25. The company also shrunk subsidiary BioWare following the release of Dragon Age The Veilguard, which it said missed sales expectations by 50%. Anybody know why? Why that happened? Why you didn't make as much money as you thought you would or wanted? Why? Because it wasn't a good Dragon Age game. It was an action game. Just make it, it's just supposed to make it an RPG. We're not gonna get into it. I feel like EA for a long time has had this like weird obsession with taking an established, popular, profitable IP and just being like, let's completely change that. Right? They did it with Battlefield 2042, even going as far back as Dead Space 3 when they made it like a fucking co-op action game. Buddy, I like the way you're making my potatoes now. Keep cooking them like this. I'm eating them. I'll buy them. And you know what? If in 2 years you want to add some spices or maybe some cilantro or green onions, yeah, I'll probably buy that shit too. Just keep making the potatoes, man. EA has been doing this identity shift thing for a long time. Now, I will say that's assuming that EA are the ones who are pushing these creative direction decisions onto the developers who have to accommodate EA. I think that's what's going on. I think historically that's what's been the case. But, you know, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong and tell me I'm fat. But these three games, right, 2042, Veilguard, and Titanfall 3, they all have one thing in common. They're not giving fans what they want, what they expect from each of these series. At least that's how I feel. The Titanfall recipe is pretty straightforward. You take the similar, familiar feel of Call of Duty's fast-paced gunplay, you add some futuristic movement, and throw in a bunch of giant-ass robots who can beat the living hell out of each other. Like, that's what's so great about mech games. They're like impossible to screw up. Because all you gotta do is just put me in a giant robot and let me fight other robots. And squish people? Yeah, fuck yeah. Fly a bit, throw down some fire traps. Remember how satisfying it was when you got the melee kill on a Titan and you pulled out the pilot and just like threw him on the ground or some shit? It's so simple. Just, you want to sell Titanfall? You want to sell a lot of copies of that game? Give us more robots. Am I right or am I right? Like, think about this. Does anybody not like Beyblades or think like Beyblades are kind of lame? They need to change that. Imagine at Beyblade Industries, a CEO comes out one day and he's like, yeah guys, we're changing Beyblades. Now instead of like this, they're trying to bounce on top of each other. It's like, no, I want to see this crash, crash, crash. That's what I want. I'm probably rambling like an old man at this point, but honestly, it's pretty disappointing to hear that a new Titanfall game was shelved. I mean, for as unique a concept as it was, being able to have the traditional FPS arena shooter type combat with the pilots and mix that in with mechs, like for as awesome and unique as a concept that was, and how well they executed it with the original and the sequel, you'd think this series would print money. I could crack the code for you guys at EA. If you want to know how to sell Titanfall to people, more robots. More robots, please. Anyways, I figured this news was important to talk about. Like, I know I haven't made a video on Titanfall in a long time, but I had so much fun when I played it back in the day. You should go rewatch that. It'd probably sound really funny in comparison. But, you know, I felt like back in 2017 when Battlefront 2 came out, it just kind of felt like, oh, okay, Titanfall, Battlefront, these FPS series are like here to stay. They're here to compete with Call of Duty, Battlefield, and Halo. And both of those just disappeared. I will say, it's not like all is bad at Respawn. Like I said, the Star Wars Jedi series has had 2 phenomenal entries, and I imagine they're going to come out with a third. But you know what could also use a third game? Star Wars Battlefront! It's a shame, and I think it's kind of embarrassing to use its sort of soft corporate PR speak to hide the true meaning of what they're really announcing. But aside from that, you know, there are plenty of other amazing games that have recently come out or are soon to drop that will serve as a nice distraction from yet another series of video game layoffs. But what do you think about all this news? Are you one of those people who genuinely does not like mech games? If so, please post a comment down below. I want to hear from you and perhaps ask if you would be willing for us to execute you and use your brain for scientific study. We need to figure out how people can have opinions that are so bad. I'm just kidding, but put an F in the chat for Titanfall, as we are no longer standing by for one. All right, everybody. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe to The Act Man for more awesome content. All right, everyone. That's all I got for today. This is The Act Man signing out. Peace.